Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? It is currently 2:51 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, and I am just now leaving the house for like the last, I don't know, 15 hours or something like that. How are you guys doing? It is currently 46 degrees outside. It's actually, it's really nice outside today. So you might be asking yourselves, well, Peter, why are you vlogging so late in the day for yesterday's vlog? And I will tell you. Last night, Alex and I just sat around the house and watched TV. I was uploading some videos, getting videos up later. And so I ordered Maggiano's and had Maggiano's while we watched the end of the first episode of The Real Housewives of OC, the new season, which you guys, it looks like it's going to be such a good season of The Real Housewives of OC. So if you guys are Real Housewives watchers, you might want to watch. I haven't really watched the OC in a few years, and this one looks like it's going to be really, really good. And can I just say this, if you guys are Real Housewives watchers, I feel like Gina and Emily from the OC are the realest housewives that have ever been on any franchise ever. Like, they are the most down-to-earth. I mean, yes, I know that Emily has had plastic surgery on, like, every part of her entire body, but she, like, owns it, too. She's like, I had this done, and I had that done, and whatever. I mean, like, she's completely transparent about it, and I love Gina so much. And on Watch What Happens Live the other night, Andy Cohen did this in memoriam. It was so funny, to Gina's hair, because Gina has had, like, all of these, like, I mean, they haven't been the most trend-worthy hairstyles, you know, and so she finally got her hair cut, and it's so adorable. She has, like, kind of like a shoulder-length bob, and it's so cute, and so that was, like, his mazel of the day. Anyway, and Heather Dubrow was on that episode, too. I really like Heather Dubrow. I know a lot of people don't, but I really like Heather Dubrow. But have you seen her house? Oh my God. So they do a tour of her house on, it's like Shannon and Gina. I think it might just be Shannon and Gina do a tour of Heather's house on the first episode. That house is like a hotel. I mean, it is absolutely like a hotel. So anyway, we finished watching the OC, the first episode. I need to turn the heat off. I don't need the heat on today. And then we watched, there was like this preview of RuPaul's Drag Race season 14 that's coming out in January, and all of like the new queens. And so we didn't, like, I was like, what is this that we have like DVR'd? So we started watching it, and it was just like the announcement of the 14 queens, and then went into this new show that's like RuPaul's Drag Race, kind of. Well, not really. It's these queens. I think it's called Queens from Around the World, and it's these drag queens that sing. And oh my God, we fell in love with this show. And I guess you can watch the whole season on Peacock or several of the episodes, because we're going to watch a couple of them tonight. And there's also a RuPaul's Drag Race Christmas movie that came out called The Bee Who Stole Christmas or something like that. So when that was all done, it was like 11:45, and you guys, I was so tired. I had been going all day long, and I was so tired, and I was like, Alex, I've got to lay down a little bit before I go vlog. And he was like, well, go lay down for like an hour. I've got something on my sunglasses here. There, I think I got it. And he was like, well, go lay down for a little bit. I'm gonna watch. I don't know what he was gonna watch. He was watching, was he watching Vanderpump Rules? I think he was watching Vanderpump Rules. And I watched that like the first season or two, and then I just got so over it. So I laid down, and he came up to bed at about 2 o'clock. And he was like, babe, are you gonna go vlog? And I was like, I'm still so tired. I was so tired, you guys. And I was so cozy in bed, and the blackout curtains were closed, and it was pitch black, and Boo Radley was cozied up next to me, and I just was like, I am gonna sleep through the night. Well, I honestly thought that I would get up at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I'm gonna get up at 8 or 9, and I am going to get all this stuff done, and you know, like I'm gonna get all my videos done by noon. And I was like, I had this whole plan, right? As I laid there in bed for 5 minutes thinking about this, and then I fell back asleep. And then I kept on falling back asleep and falling back asleep. I had the most interesting dreams last night, though. They were good, but they were interesting. So yeah, so that was last night, and that's why I am now vlogging at 2-something in the afternoon. I was actually just like coming out of my neighborhood, and there was this girl in front of me, and we got to the light, and like where I turn onto like the main road, and she was like this in the rear view mirror, and then she was like this in this rear view mirror, and then she kept on turning around. I think she was like somebody that watches my videos. That never happens to me, and I was like, oh, I wish she would just pull over and say hi. That would be so nice. She was like, I was like, she didn't do anything. But anyway, so how are you guys doing today? It seems kind of crazy that it's the weekend. I don't know why, but it does. But we don't have any big plans this weekend. I thought we might go downtown tonight with Melissa and Jason, but Alex was like, I said to him, I thought you said that you wanted to maybe go out on Saturday night. He said, no, I said it might be fun to go out on Saturday night, but that it's Lil Jon. And he goes, and I don't really care to want to go see Lil Jon. I was like, okay. I said, I don't really care. I'll go do whatever. I'm open to anything. So, yeah, there's that. And then Valerie texted me earlier and said that she was like, oh, what is that over there? Outside front of the realty office. There's Santa Claus is sitting out there. She said she might go to the casino tonight or tomorrow. So I was like, well, I might meet you up depending on... I don't love to go to the casino on Friday or Saturday nights because it is absolutely so packed. It's really hard to get on any kind of machine. And I kind of like to go when it's a little quieter and calmer. So I definitely prefer going on like Sundays or Mondays or something like that. I don't love going on the weekends. Unless you go really late on the weekend. And by late, I mean like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which by then it's like, if you're going to stay for any length of time, I mean, the next day is pretty much ruined. And tomorrow I have, well, brunch we'll do, I'm sure. And then, I have the True Crime Book Club at 4 o'clock tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. Please come and join us if you would like. We are discussing the October book, Halloween book, which was called Behind the Horror by Lee Miller. I don't even know how I remember that. And then we are discussing the November book, which was A Dark Room in Glitterball City by David Dominic. And you know what is so funny is that I find myself like quoting a lot from that book. Not quoting a lot, but like there were so many facts in that book that were really interesting. Like the fact that the majority of the world's disco balls, which there are all these different words for disco balls that I was not aware of. Glitter balls, mirror balls. I mean, I guess I've heard them all, but I just thought people called them disco balls. I don't know. I've always called it a disco ball. There's even a discussion in there where this one person's like, do you call it a disco ball or a glitter ball? And he's like, I call it a glitter ball. And the other guy's like, oh, I call it a mirror ball. So, what was I going to say? I don't even know. But there, that's what I was going to say. Did you know that the majority of the world's disco balls are made in Louisville, Kentucky? I did not know that. Little fact for you guys. They also talked about this bourbon in there that was called Pappy's 23. it's like this theme throughout the whole book, and I still don't feel like I really understood what it was, but he was always wanting to get his hands on like a bottle of this Pappy's 23, and even like this one point, like his house is broken into, which later you find out is like a warning to like stop investigating the story. But oh, I love when people have these like reindeer things on their cars with like the, you know, they put the nose in the front and the ears on either side. I said to Alex, I said, should I get that? And he goes, no, it's corny or something. Like, he didn't like, he's like, no, I don't like that. I was like, okay. Anything that's not conceivably cool, my husband does not like. That's not true. But I have to tell you, yesterday I was standing outside and all of my neighbors, like, they kept on, like, I was talking to my neighbor across the street and all these people were walking by, and each person that walked by was like, I love your front porch. I was like, thank you. Cozy Christmas. I know, I need to make the announcement about the Cozy Christmas contest. I haven't done that yet. Hell, I finally posted the picture of the reading books for the reading books. I finally posted a picture. This is my first cup of coffee for the day, and it is praline nutcracker, and it's delicious. I got it from that crazy coffee or crazy cups of coffee or something like that. I don't know. It's delicious. But I finally posted the 2 books on my Instagram that are for a true crime book club, and for December we are reading The Third Rainbow Girl, which is about these 2 girls that were going to a rainbow gathering, which was kind of like a hippie thing back in the day. The only reason I know that is because all of my friends that ended up going to Bloomington, Indiana, IU, Indiana University for college, they all became total hippies. Like, real serious hippies. Some of them still are to this day. And, you know, like, one of my dearest friends from high school, she is like a naturopathic physician, and she lives in like Bellingham, Washington, in like some communal residence. She and her husband, they live with like all these other people, and they have like a very like hippie existence. But anyway, she's very happy. So they would go to rainbow gatherings back when, I mean, I can remember them talking about it. And so it was interesting because Mel picked this book out, and Mel was like, I think this would be a good book. It looks really good. So it's about these girls that went missing in like the 70s, and how the, my nose is crooked. I don't know if you can tell, but my nose is crooked. And so my sunglasses like always sit crooked on my face. It drives me crazy. It's like one of the things in my life that I know it's so superficial, but it does drive me crazy. So sunglasses always sit crooked. And the other thing is that they sit kind of like at an angle like this. And so like if you're like this, see, I can put this finger down, but this finger I can't, because do you see that? It's like one side is closer than the other. It drives me nuts. I just wish I had a normal pair of sunglasses that fit nicely. Anyway, so that is the December book. They are on their way to a rainbow gathering, and they get murdered or something like that. And the case has been unsolved for like 30, 40 years. That book looks really, really interesting. So that's the book for a true crime book club. The book for Peter's book club is called When Christmas Comes. And it is about this librarian that is murdered in this small town. It's not a cozy mystery, but I did find it looking for Christmas cozy mysteries. It's brand new. It came out in November. It's by Andrew Klavan, I think, Klavan. I think Andrew is his first name. I'm not sure. And it is about this librarian that's murdered, and I think she's engaged to this guy that was in the military, and like it's this huge deal because he was in the military that he's accused of this crime. And this guy that was part of a crime from like years before is asked to investigate it to get this guy like off from doing it. I don't know, like it's supposed to be a really good murder mystery and very kind of like dark and whatever. So I'm excited about reading that. That book is really short, you guys. It's like 230 pages or something like that. So those are the books for December. I need to finish this Apples Never Fall. You guys, it is literally Like, I wanted that book done by this weekend. My plan had been that I was going to push through it the last 2 nights, and I was going to get the book done. I mean, I like the book. This is the thing, is I like the book, but, it's just very intricate when you're listening to it, and you have to pay attention. It's not the kind of book that you can just like, la-di-da, whatever. I mean, you really have to pay attention to what she's saying in the book. And so, but my plan was the last 2 nights I was going to listen to like 2 hours each, or an hour and a half each, and then I was going to read a cozy mystery at the end of this week, because I have purchased now all these cozy mysteries, and I'm like, how am I going to possibly have them read in the next 2.5 weeks? Like, seriously, I can't even believe that we're 2.5 weeks away from Christmas. What are we? So today's the 4th. So we're literally 20 days away from, what is that, 3 weeks? I mean, I just can't even believe that. It's crazy to me. Because just, I mean, this is just me. I mean, I know you can read Christmas books after Christmas, but I don't love to read Christmas books after Christmas is over. I'm ready to read something else, you know? Let's get to the, I don't know, let's get to the beach reads or something. But anyway, so I'm gonna need to get gas. I mean, I have like a 1/4 of a tank of gas, but I should probably get gas at some point while I'm out here today. So I really need to listen to a lot of that book today and tomorrow. I have less than 4 hours left. If I listen to 2 hours today and 2 hours tomorrow, I could finish the book tomorrow easily. And I haven't decided if I'm going to make videos tomorrow, or I'm either going to skip today or I'm either going to skip tomorrow. There's just not tons of drama going on, so I don't know which one I'm going to do. As far as drama stuff, I can find something. Oh man. It's like all the leaves are off the trees, and it's sunny, but it feels very, I don't know how to explain it. It feels very just like grayish outside. I mean, it's super sunny, you can see that, right? But like, I think we're right around the corner from it getting really cold. And now that all the leaves are gone, and this is when we get into the very bitter part of, I was gonna say Christmas, but of winter in Indiana. It's kind of like just like a waiting game. You know, because we can have weather like this for like weeks on end. I mean, we can go into January and be in like the 40s and the 50s in Indiana. It's just so weird to me. Like, when I was growing up, we didn't always necessarily have snow by Christmas. Like not any kind of like large amount of snow. I do remember having snow at Christmas, but sometimes it would just be flurries. Sometimes it would, you know, whatever. But definitely going into January, we had snow. And so it's so weird to me that like we're going entire winters without having like really any precipitation at all. I feel like last winter and the winter before, like we really didn't have hardly any snow. Maybe like once, you know? It's so weird to me. When I think about that ice storm from a couple years ago, that was like my first year on YouTube. Like, that was in November, which is so crazy to me. Do you guys remember the ice storm that I was trapped in? So if you were not around for the illicit ice storm, I used to go to all of these meetings on the east side of Indianapolis, and they were all candlelight meetings, which means that they just turn off the lights, and we had candles that, you know, lit the room. And so I'm gonna pull in here. I want to see what the weather is supposed to be like for them. I think I looked to see what the weather was gonna be like around the next 2 weeks, and it's like this. It's like this for the next 2 weeks. Let me pull in here real quick, and then I'll tell the story about the ice storm. Well, anyway, I went into the meeting, and the meeting was at 9:30, I think, and it just started like raining a little bit, like just sprinkling. When I went into the meeting, when I came out an hour later, we came out, into like a literal ice storm. You couldn't even walk in the parking lot. It was like black ice in the parking lot. And so when I was driving home, I actually thought to myself, I should take side roads. And I ended up taking the interstate. I was like, no, it'll be faster to get on the interstate. Nobody's out. It's Sunday night. And I'll never forget, I got on the ramp to get onto the interstate. And like, as soon as I came up over the ramp and I looked down, it was like gridlock traffic at 10:30 at night. I mean, and completely stopped traffic for miles upon miles upon miles. And that was at 10:30, 10:45 probably. And I was there until 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was really scared that my car was going to die and all this kind of stuff. Oh my God, this is so funny because I thought that that person behind me was somebody that watched my videos. It was a friend of mine. It was my friend. She said, was that just you behind my little VW? If not, that handsome fellow in the Jeep with the most perfect gray beard must think I'm a weirdo. LOL. Aww. My husband constantly sending me TikToks of monkeys because he knows that I love monkeys so much. Okay, let's look at the weather. Okay. Oh my God, it's supposed to be 53, 52 tomorrow. It's supposed to be 53 today. 52 tomorrow, 30 on Tuesday. Really no precipitation though. 53 next Friday and Saturday. 53 and 50. 49, oh my God. 52 and 51 on the 15th and the 16th. 47, 47 the 17th and the 18th. It's gonna be warm this Christmas. She's so funny. I've known her since I was... God, probably I met her my first year sober. And I met her because I was dating her best friend at the time. Dating, I should say. We went on a few dates. It wasn't really dating, but he was a nice guy, actually. He's like married and lives in Chicago and is like really successful now. But anyway, she and I see each other every once in a while, and she's super cool. The last time that I saw her was at this thing called the Tonic Ball in Indianapolis, and I want to go the next time they have it. We only went one time. She's so funny. The last time we saw her was at the Tonic Ball, and it's this thing downtown in Fountain Square, and like there's like 6 or 7 bars that... This is where my social anxiety like is so bad for me. Like I can remember when Alex was like, his friend who was sat on the board of this, she was like, hey, I'm gonna give you and Alex like 2 tickets to go, or give you 2 tickets for you and Peter to go. And so Alex was really excited about it, and I was like, go out to 7 different bars in one night. Like the idea of that was like nerve-wracking to me, right? And I almost didn't want to go. And we ended up going, and we ended up having a fantastic time. We met her and this guy that she was dating at the time, and so it's like 7 bars downtown, and it was really, really fun. And so at each different bar was like a different theme that you would go to. So like one bar was like Bob Marley. It was like they would have some old artist of the night, right? Like Bob Marley. But then it would be like 10 bands that played over the course of like 9 p.m. to like 3 a.m. And they would all do Bob Marley covers, but like one would be a punk band, one would be like a jazz singer, one would be something else. It was such a cool evening, you guys. I don't know if I have the pictures in here. Alex has them. He has them like at home, like right by all of his stuff that we took because we did like a photo booth that night. But we had so much fun, and my favorite was interestingly enough, there was a Ramones bar that we went to, and it was just all these different people playing, and I love the Ramones. 24 hours ago, I wanna be sedated, or however that song goes. 24 hours. Anyway, Pet Cemetery and all those songs, you remember those from back in the day. But that was like the best bar we had so much fun at. It was just so much fun. Anyway. She must live really close to me. I knew she lived close, but I didn't realize she lived that close to me. Should we read some of the comments on the Vloggerella? Not the Vloggerinis, but the Vloggerinis. Okay. Brian asks, what's the name of the hot spot spray? You know what? I do not know. Let me look it up and see if I can find it for you really quick. Because I know if I saw the bottle, I would know. It's just like this white bottle. Hold on a second. I got it at PetSmart. Oh, here it is. Okay. It is called Micro Sin AH Hot Spot Spray Pet Gel. This is what the bottle looks like. And 8 fluid ounces, $16.49 at Best Buy. Yeah. And they also have an anti-itch pet hydrogel. That might have been what I got. I can't remember. I think I got the Hot Spot one. But I will tell you that also, depending on the dog size, look it up online or ask your vet, because our vet told us how much to give Boo this summer, and so we did the same with Tucker. But like a half a Benadryl, I think most dogs can take like a full Benadryl, but I don't know. So ask your vet. But like we give just Boo and Tucker a half of a Benadryl. I think we did finally give Boo like a whole Benadryl this summer, but the Benadryl really helps with the itchiness of it, like them feeling like they want to itch at it. It really helps with that. So anyway, I hope that helps. Okay, Ashley said, I've never heard anyone say belly button birthday before. It's honestly the cutest thing ever. I mean, it's kind of a recovery saying, I guess. Diorsky said, I am loving the guy behind the tree. I kind of freaked me out. Lauren said, I'll always remember your sobriety birthday because it's my dad's belly button birthday. He's going to be 70 this year. Happy birthday, Dad. Emily said, maybe 1750 guy was dumping a body and waved to see if you were looking at him. Do you guys remember? I've had a couple weird things that have happened out there that kind of scared me, you know. You need to take the price tag off the bottom of your red cup. Who said that? Hold on a second. You're absolutely right, I do. I didn't even realize I hadn't. That's from Red Ladybug. Thank you, Red Ladybug. Okay. Gina said, if I were to start a new Housewives, I watch Salt Lake City because I live in the Salt Lake City, New Jersey, and Beverly Hills. Should I choose Atlanta or the OC? Thanks. Love you all. Oh, they're so completely different. I don't know. To be really honest, if I was to go back right now and start, I wouldn't watch New York. New York is so boring. And New York really never was that great, honestly. I know that Ramona thinks that she was the greatest ever. I never really thought New York was really that interesting. It was really it really was a lot of I'm better than you kind of attitude. And also just a lot of like needless drama. I don't know. I probably would go and watch Potomac. I think Alex and I are going to go back and start watching the Potomac again. It is so good. Just like some of it that I've seen. Atlanta. My camera stopped. Atlanta or OC. I mean, it depends on what. I don't know. Atlanta is so good, you guys. Atlanta is so good. Especially if you're going to go back and watch some of the old Atlantas with like Phaedra and Nene Leakes. Oh, and Kim and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's really good. Stacey said never go in the woods alone ever again. Gina put blue hearts. AKA Constantine said, I think that guy in the woods was waving off to the left at some... He wasn't. He was waving to me. There was not that many people out there, you guys. I know that. I could see them where they were walking. He was waving to the camera. If you watch the video, he was waving to the camera, which makes it even weirder. H. Bob said, I like when you read comments. And Peter, I tried Popcornopulus because of you, and dang, I can't stop eating it now. I even ate the gifts I bought for my family. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, okay, so Brooke goes in with this whole idea of, like, the guy was there at the 14-15 mark, then walked out, then walked back in. Then Lauren said chances are he was thinking the same of Peter and both are harmless. I mean, I think the man was completely harmless. I just think it's funny to talk about, you know? I love to be a conspiracy theorist, don't you? Jennifer said, I'm like reading this question. I'm like, do I really want to get into this today? Jennifer asked me, hey Peter, one question I'd like your take on, how you feel about people who use marijuana every day for pain reasons, and if you feel like it's the same as being addicted to something like alcohol. I'm just curious on how you feel about that. Okay, so I think there's a lot of ways to look at that. First of all, my absolute, honest, 100% opinion on that is, do you? You know, I mean, if you need to smoke pot because of pain reasons, who am I to tell you that you shouldn't do that? That being said, my friend who was sober for 21 years was on doctor-prescribed medication for back pain, and was found to be manipulating that pain medication, and then started smoking pot, and now is using basically everything under the sun. So I think it's like, you know, a slippery slope. I just think it depends. I think it depends on each person. I think it, you know, whatever. Do I think that marijuana is very helpful for pain? I mean, I've never used it for that, but have I talked to enough people that are like, you know, that use it for pain management and use it for, you know, pain from like major diseases and things like that? Yeah, I'm sure it's extremely helpful. You know, I also know like one of our very dear friends is a pain management specialist and does not use any kind of narcotics whatsoever, because, you know, there are people out there that want non-narcotic treatment for pain management. So I think there are other alternatives to that, but it's not my place to tell somebody to do that. I don't think it's comparable to alcohol in this. Now, I don't really know anybody. I've never really I'm like trying to think this through as I say this, because, you know, if I say one small thing, there'll be the person out there that holds on to that forever. But if there's people out there that are saying I'm drinking alcohol for pain management, like, I don't know people that really do that. I don't know people that really drink alcohol for pain management. So I mean, if you have somebody in your life that's telling you that I'm drinking a fifth of vodka a day because of the pain, then, I mean, I think, first of all, they're completely manipulating you. Number two, I think that person needs to seek treatment. The thing is, like, how dependent do you want to be on it? You know, I should probably do a video sometime, you know, with some of my friends sharing their stories with you. I think that would be interesting for my friends that would be willing to do that on some of my channels. Because, you know, there are a lot of people that get sober that were doctor-prescribed prescriptions, okay? That were taking them as they were prescribed. They weren't, you know, but then they couldn't get off of them on their own. And so what they had found was that they had become chemically dependent upon these certain drugs. And I'm just telling you their perception. I'm not telling you that I think that person's an addict or not. I'm telling you they think that they are addicts. Just them, right? And then they found out that, like, if at that time they became so dependent on that, you know, if they couldn't use that, they would use something else. I don't know. This is what, you know, what I would ask somebody that is smoking pot every day for medicinal reasons. I would say, if tomorrow there was no pot left on the face of the earth, would you have to use something, like, would you have to drink? Would you have to do something like that? You know, I mean, and I also think the other question is, at what point are we medically managing our own pain, and we are somebody else's, like a doctor is medically managing our own pain? I mean, I think those are completely two different questions as well. I mean, for me, it would be important to me that I was going to a physician who was managing my pain level, if that makes sense. Now, if that doctor was like, you know, I mean, I don't know how that would work in Indiana, because I know only in, like, finite cases are there people that are prescribed, like, Marinol and things like that. And most of them are AIDS patients in Indiana for pain and things like that. In other states, I know people get their marijuana card and stuff like that. And and honestly, most of the people that I have known that have smoked pot legally in other states for pain or whatever, it's a joke. Like, they're just, they laugh about it. They're like, yeah, I went to my doctor and told him I couldn't sleep, and he gave me my marijuana maintenance card, and now I can go get pot legally. You know, it's kind of like that. Like, they joke about it. It's not like they're seriously going to the doctor to get a marijuana maintenance or a marijuana card or whatever. I don't even know what it's called, because of all of that, you know? But, I mean, I think that most people that are engaging in any kind of substance where it is affecting their life, I mean, I think most people know. You know, smoking pot for me, it never caused me any problems. I never, other than money, I never suffered any consequences smoking pot. I mean, I just didn't, right? You know, I mean, physically, yeah, I mean, I'm talking about, like, outside of that. Physically, like, short-term memory loss, I'm sure. You know, I was talking about this in my video that I did on my drama channel. You know, I mean, were there things, side effects like that? Oh, I'm sure there were, right? But for me, it was just one part of many. But if it was just the pot, here's the problem. I was smoking pot all day, every day. I was literally stoned all day. I mean, who can function like that? Nobody can function like that. I mean, I couldn't have carried a job. I couldn't have been successful in school. So when you ask me, as far as, like, you know, people smoking, you know, pot or using marijuana for pain management, I think it's a personal decision. I think how much you have to use. But do I think that there are people out there, not just with, you know, marijuana, but with anything out there that's doctor prescribed or not doctor prescribed or whatever, can you become addicted to it? Absolutely. I mean, I think that a lot of our addicts that are out there right now are addicts because a doctor put them on some kind of medication and continued to up and up and up and up the levels, and all of a sudden you have this person that maybe had, I mean, this is where I don't believe that addiction is 100% genetic, where I've met a lot of people that are like, you know, I never abused a substance until I never even smoked pot or had a drink until my doctor put me on this pain medication, and then here I am 5 years later and I literally can't physically get off of it, and I feel like my life is surrounded around this drug, you know? Well, I mean, that's because we have a lot of ignorant doctors in our country, and I'm sorry, but I'm just going to call it like it is, that are consumed with pharma and the kickbacks that they're getting, and they're not doing their research on addiction with these people. And I mean, this is why we're having shows now like Dope Sick on Hulu, which was based on the book Dope Sick that we read, and why there's that movie, you know, The Pharmacist, and all this kind of stuff, because people need to be... we need to be talking about this. I mean, when I watched that show about that dad whose son had died or whatever, and then he was going to find out, and they had that doctor, do you remember, did you guys watch that? What was that show called? The Pharmacist? And they had that doctor, and she was writing out, like, she went into her office at like 10 o'clock. I mean, where in the world do we think that that is okay? Okay? That she's going into her office at like 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday, and the waiting area is stacked with like 150 people, and she's like taking cash only, writing out script after script after script. And yet, I mean, how are people like that? I mean, and I'm sure every town has one. Because in every small town, I can tell you, you go to the addicts and ask them who the doctor is in town, and they'll tell you who to go to that will write you whatever prescription you want. That's the truth, period, right? So it's like, I think it's just a slippery slope. It's not my place to tell somebody that they can't smoke pot. You know, I think it's a scary question. I thought to myself at times, you know, like, what if I was in severe pain and I knew that one of the only options was marijuana? You know, what would I do? I don't know. You know, I mean, it would be a serious question I would have to, serious discussion I would have to have with my sponsor. Thank God I haven't had to cross that bridge yet, and I hope I never do, you know? But you know, I think, like, it's important. That's why it was important for me to talk about the back pain stuff when I was going through it, and how I was terrified. Now, this is cute. The wreath on the front of the car, I used to do that all the time. But, you know, I was terrified because I had heard so many friends of mine relapse by being put on some kind of medication. If you guys remember me talking about that, that was a year ago last summer. And I was terrified of that, you know, which was why I had to work with my sponsor and my dad so closely, and on talking about the different medications and whatever. And thank God nothing serious came from that, and that my back has been okay. My back actually did hurt a little bit this morning, but I think it's because I slept too long. But, you know, I was terrified of that because I've had several friends of mine go back out there. I've had a friend of mine die as a result of, you know, they were active in meetings even, and a doctor put them on pain medication, and then all of a sudden it became all about the pain medication, you know? And then they were smoking pot. This is a different friend. And then they were smoking pot too. And then at the end, they just didn't care at all, and they were drinking and everything, you know? And pain management is a very real thing. I mean, people are suffering from real pain. I mean, like, I don't think I didn't really have any idea how miserable it was, you know, until, like, I started going through just, you know, probably 100th of what most people go through, you know, with pain. And I mean, I couldn't even, like, that was like, what, 4 or 5 days where I couldn't, like, walk 5 feet without having to sit down. Like, I can't imagine living like that all the time. So who am I to tell that person that they can't smoke pot? You know, but I do think that that person should probably be working with a doctor. I just think that there aren't a lot of doctors out there that understand addiction. There really aren't. I mean, I think it's sad in 2021. I think it's a major part of their coursework that they should have to do. You know, my dad, when he was still practicing and working within the hospitals, I mean, that was one of the things that he worked really hard on once I got sober, was implementing policy for people, for treatment options for people that could be referred out to by the hospital. Because for a long time it was tricky because, you know, like, if you had, you know, patients at the hospital that kept on coming into the ER, or, you know, they would call them in these are just stories I've heard from different doctors, that like if you said, I'm not going to call you in your prescription anymore because I think you're abusing it, well, they could sue you for patient abandonment, right? And there was nothing that would say that if you reach a certain point that a doctor or ER could recommend treatment options and that you have to do that other than a prescription. Well, policies have been put into place. Like my dad was a big part of that happening in this country, because there's a lot of people getting missed in the cracks of that, and not just handing you a piece of paper and saying, here, go to treatment, but saying, here, we're going to have to set up an appointment with you tomorrow for you to see this person who's going to then handhold you and refer you to a treatment program if that's what you choose to do. If not, you know, because there's a lot of prescription jumpers that go from pharmacy to pharmacy to pharmacy, and I don't know. But I can't tell you the amount of addicts that I have met that their addiction ended catastrophically, but it started literally with very real pain, back pain, most of it back pain. And, you know, and then 5-10 years down the road, they're on 15 different kinds of meds, most of them all pain medications, you know, and they can't get off of it. So I guess that's what I think about it. I don't know. All of it scares me. I don't want anybody to suffer. But do I think if somebody's smoking pot because they have cancer and it takes away the pain from their cancer, do I think that's addiction? I think who cares, honestly, is what I think at that point. I mean, like, that's my honest response to that. If you have cancer and the pain is so bad that you're smoking pot to relieve you from cancer, I think the least of your worries is, are you an addict or not? Honest to God, that's where I'm at with it. Like, you know, I mean, I hope that if I am going through such miserable pain, and I have had friends of mine that have, you know, died of cancer. Just recently, I had a friend of mine, you know, that my old sponsor, and but you know, years and years before that, I feel like there is no good sun in this car for vlogging. Here, I'm gonna turn around right here so I can try to capture some of the good sun. But you know, years before that, I would have friends of mine that were in recovery that like really struggled with that question, like, you know, they're literally days away from dying, and it's like, I mean, I'm in so much pain. You know, could I smoke a little pot for some pain management? I hope to God, on my last final days, if I am in that much pain, I mean, honest to God, this is just how I feel about it. I hope to God that, I don't know, somebody allows me to have a little momentary grace from pain. I really do. You know, my recovery and my addiction, my sobriety is very, very important to me. But I also think that there becomes a point where you have to ask about intention and motive. You know, one of the things that we talk about in sobriety is that, like, if let's say if I go in and I have to get something done, like teeth work or, you know, an operation or something, right? Sobriety doesn't tell you that you can't get pain medication, right? There's my sponsors, every single one of my sponsors has always said, if we're ever in that position, what I would do is I would have whoever's closest to you, which now would be Alex, go get the prescription and monitor it and hand it out to you as prescribed. So if that says every 4 hours or whatever, give you a pill every 4 hours, right? And then when you don't need the medicine anymore because you feel better or you aren't in pain anymore, giving, you know, then flushing the medication or throwing it away. That's what I have always been taught, and that is what I have done with people that I have sponsored and worked with, you know, and it's always worked. It's never, and I don't consider that a relapse, that somebody has to medically take a medication that they are doctor prescribed. I don't consider that, a relapse at all. Just, that's my opinion. So, I think you have to check your motive and your intention about it. I mean, if your motive and your intention is, I just want to smoke pot all day long, well, then I do think that that's addiction, you know, but I think that that's a personal question you have to come up with. I have long ago stopped, you know, I mean, it is not my job ever to tell somebody that they're an alcoholic or an addict. That's a personal thing that they have to decide on their own, you know. I think this marijuana thing is interesting because I think it brings up all of these questions because it's been such a long time since we have had like a new, I mean, marijuana is not new, right? But that we're like, okay, it's getting legalized. It's like we're going through prohibition all again, and nobody knows what to do, right? And it's like this thing where, if you really think about it from a very simple point of view, like if from an, like as an addict or an alcoholic, it really is no different than it's been, you know? It's like, I have no business going into a liquor store. There's no reason for me to be there, you know? There's no reason for me to go to a cannabis shop. It's the same thing, you know? For all of the same things that I would apply it to anything else as an addict, it's the same thing when it comes to marijuana. Does that make sense? You know, if I felt like, if I felt like I was in a position of pain where marijuana would help, I would go to a doctor that was educated on, addiction, which I have a doctor that I go to that is, you know, educated on addiction and knows a lot about addiction. And I would say, you know, is this a position where you think that I can smoke pot? And I would work that through with a physician, because for me, if a physician was telling me as an addict that Peter could smoke pot for pain management and, you know, would say, here's what you can do, you know, like whatever, then I wouldn't feel so much like it was a relapse. But other than that, for me just to call up somebody that's a dealer and bring me some weed because I'm in a lot of pain and I don't know what else to do because I can't afford certain medication or I can't get the right medical, I don't know, that would scare me as an addict. I honestly, as an addict, I would probably take it to my sponsor and bring it up in meetings and ask people what they think. Like, I would really want to know before I started doing that. But, you know, I don't know. I think it's interesting that we're starting to have all these questions now, though, as marijuana is starting to get legalized across the country. It's kind of like, and it really does, like, I think change the look of what recovery is like, because I think people start to think about it differently. You know, they start thinking about it differently. And just so you know, for this one, sober is sober. I mean, like that. And when there was a comment that somebody said California sober is not sober, sober is sober. It's not my job to tell somebody if they're sober or not, right? If they want to do what they want to do, you know, that's their business. If they want to smoke pot and call themselves sober, that's their business. If they want to drink alcohol and call themselves sober, that's their business. Do I personally believe that's sober? Not by the way that I define sobriety, but that's their business, right? But for me, sober is, I mean, like me not using any drugs or alcohol is sober. So I don't know about the marijuana smoking thing. I don't know about the marijuana smoking business. No, I mean, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I wish I could smoke pot and I wasn't an addict. I do. I love smoking pot. I mean, that's the truth, you know? I say this a lot. Like, I'm an alcoholic because I love to drink. It just stopped working for me. I loved to drink alcohol. I loved being drunk. I loved being buzzed. I loved it, you know? I didn't necessarily love being blacked out or not remembering things or whatever, or putting myself in dangerous situations, but I loved to drink. And, you know, I loved to smoke pot. I did. I even loved using some of the other substances until I couldn't anymore, or until, you know. I mean, and that's where I think, like, I look at myself as, like, such an addict. Like, I can remember the first time that I took Vicodin, and which was one of my drugs of choice, and I just was like, I mean, in seventh heaven. Like, I was like, I can remember literally, like, I gotta get more of this. Like, I have got to get more of this, because it was how I felt, you know? And I felt that way about a lot of stuff, you know? And it was always that. It was always, you know, I can remember the first time getting really, really drunk with my friend, and we were at Mohawk Trails Elementary School with these other two girls, and they're puking, and I mean, we had drank like cream, we brought all this nasty cream de menthe, stuff that we thought his dad would never know was missing, and I'm sitting there on the swing set just kicking higher and higher and higher and looking at the stars and the moon and the summer night, just thinking how beautiful it is and everything's magic and everything's magical and magic, and you know, I just want to do more and more and more of this, and I can't wait till the next time to get drunk. And all of these, my friends are puking their guts out, right? Oh, my one friend and these two girls that we knew from class. And and that friendship didn't last very long, did it? Probably because of that. But anyway, you know, it's like that, or the first time that I smoked pot, or like the first time of anything I can remember, that was always the best. And it was always trying to get back to that, of trying to get back to that point that was like, it's like, you know, that amazing feeling. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here now. You know, I wanted to tell you guys this the other day, and I forgot to tell you. I've been trying to watch one Christmas movie or cartoon a day until Christmas, and I made it one day. I watched Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I honestly had never seen that cartoon before, and I don't know that I would recommend it. I don't think it's like one of the best Christmas movies ever, but it was cute. It was whatever. And then I watched the tail end of 4 Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. Okay, can we just talk about how sexy Vince Vaughn is? I always kind of, whenever I think about sexy men, I always kind of forget about Vince Vaughn. I mean, he is so, and you know what's so funny about it is, my old roommate back in the day, oh my God, she was obsessed with Vince Vaughn. She thought he was so sexy, and I was always like, gross. I don't think he's good looking at all. And I was watching that for Sundays, and I was like, oh my God, he is so hot. He is so fine. And then did you ever see him in that True Crime or whatever that thing was when he was running the casino in Las Vegas? Oh my God. Woo. So yeah, Vince Vaughn is definitely on my sexy list. All right, well, I am going to get off here now, and yeah, so, what? Oh, I hope that you, if nobody else, I hope that you, just whatever, I hope that you, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you, and I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Saturday. I love you guys, and I'll see you later tonight. Bye. Love ya! Oh, and for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, happy birthday, Lena! No. One more, I love you. I love you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!